Hi, hello, my name is Gomer Joseph. Welcome back to another True Crime Tuesdays video. If you are new, I welcome you. I am so glad it is the first video of the year. This past year has flown by, so I am really hoping that this year doesn't really fly by. I really hope that this year takes its time, but I am prepared just in case this year does not take its time. Thankfully, it seems like we are on to a good start of the year. Now, in previous videos, I have spoken about how I am a self-published author of a Christian suspense book series, which is Never As It Seems. Recently, I saw this video of somebody reviewing one of the books in the Never As It Seems book series. The video is by somebody, I hope I'm pronouncing it right. I'm gonna go ahead and leave the link in the description box. But the video was like so funny, and like this YouTuber just had a lot of attitude and personality, and I was just so glad to see somebody reviewing my book on YouTube. The YouTuber's name is Briannier Productions. Now, just a heads up, in her video, she does spoil a bit of the book, but this specific book has been out for like 2 years, so it's like you gotta go ahead and if you want to read this book series, you gotta go ahead and keep up. Today I'll be discussing the unsolved disappearance of Paul Sanders. As I researched this case, I didn't realize the bits of craziness that transpired before and after Paul's disappearance. This case truly frustrates me, and I'm baffled that it's been unsolved for this long. I encourage you all to do your own research with this case and not to just look at my video for all of the information. Here we go. Paul Sanders, who also can go by Paul Sanders Brewer or even Paul Hernandez, was born on April 25th of 1984 in Missouri. Now, he was raised by his mother, and I just could not find the name of Paul's mother, but I do know that his father's name was Robert. Now, Paul did have a sister named Jessica, and Jessica and Paul had two different fathers, but their mother did raise them on her own. Paul was described as someone who was selfless, sweet, athletic. He played a wide range of sports, and he was actually good to the point where he would have been able to have been awarded with scholarships. Paul made sure to look out for his sister and mother. When his mom would have a new boyfriend, he wanted to make sure that his mother was treated with respect. He was a protective older brother who adored his younger sister, like taking her out to eat lunch and would allow her to hang out with him. When 2000 arrived, against his mother's wishes, Paul went to stay with his father, Robert. And even though Paul's mother was against this visit, like, I can understand where Paul is coming from. Paul, again, he was raised by his mother all of his life in Missouri, like far away from his father, who was all the way in Arizona. So he had the chance to spend time with his father, who he didn't get to see often. From what I gathered, this was only supposed to be a short visit, but Paul decided to stay in Arizona longer. First, he would stay with his grandma in Globe, Arizona, and enrolled in a high school which was local the following year. Paul would later move in with his father in Mesa, Arizona, and enrolled in that local high school. While living in Arizona, Paul still made sure to keep in contact with his mother and sister in Missouri, even visiting them for the holidays. On August 11th of 2001, Paul is 17 at this point, and one night he has this argument with his father. I don't know what this argument was about, but it got heated to the point where Paul left early the next morning and took his father's silver Chevy pickup truck, which I can imagine he took without his father's permission. Like, not many parents would allow their kids to borrow their cars after getting into a huge argument with them. After leaving his father's house, Paul's first stop was at his grandmother's house, and after he left, his grandmother had no idea where he planned on going next. Later that day, the same truck that Paul was driving was pulled over by highway patrol in Tucson, Arizona, which was like an hour away from his dad's place. Right before the cop could obtain any identification, Paul, and most likely Paul, because this is the same truck that he took from his father, the driver in the truck, which is most likely Paul, sped off and was basically playing real life GTA with the cops by going on a high speed chase with them along Route 77. Like, it's already crazy enough that a 17-year-old is on a high speed chase with the police. But something else which caught me off guard while looking into this is that I read that the police actually gave up the chase. The reason why the police gave up the chase was because the weather was getting bad. And since it's Arizona, I would assume that it was just this big storm of heavy rain. After this high speed chase, Paul was never seen again. 3 days later, on August 15th of 2001, the silver Chevy was found crashed on the side of a steep hill in the side, I hope I'm saying this right, in the Santa Catalina Mountains. But as we know by now, Paul was not found inside of the pickup truck, but something else went missing. The day before Paul had an argument with his dad, he actually cashed a check from his job, but the money wasn't inside of his wallet. What was found inside of the car were the wallet, of course, the car keys, the cell phone, and his driver's license. When news of Paul's disappearance reached his mother and sister, they were absolutely devastated. His dad, on the other hand, wasn't acting like any rational parent whose child goes missing. Instead of keeping items which belong to his missing son, as a way of holding on to hope that his son would return, Robert would proceed to throw away all that was left of Paul. To me, it was almost like he wanted to forget that his own child ever existed. On top of that, Robert would get himself in trouble with the law over the years for robbery. As for the police, they were pretty much being weird when it came to trying to locate Paul, and they were claiming that none of the items in the truck would be evidence. Now again, I know I've been doing the whole YouTube true crime thing for a few years now, but I'm still, trying to go ahead and learn the fundamentals of the law and investigations and stuff like that. But I would assume that every little detail would count, especially when a minor is missing. The family would constantly ask the police for updates, but it doesn't seem like the police had any updates for Paul's mom and sister, which I can imagine frustrated them to no end. The more time that Paul went missing, the more heartbroken his family was. His mother was just suffering for so many years that in July 2020, she took her own life and pretty much passed away, never knowing exactly what happened to her son. Now, Jessica, who is a grown woman at this point, and it doesn't hurt any less. She has not only lost her brother, who she still has no idea where he is or what happened to him, but she has also lost her mother, which really, after her mother passed, it really pushed her to try to locate Paul. With the fact that he argued with his dad and was most likely running away from the police, it would be natural for people to assume, right? For people who don't know Paul, to just assume that he just ran away. But I don't really know many 17-year-olds who could just successfully run away and stay missing for as long as Paul has been missing. As for Jessica, she is 100% certain that if Paul did in fact run away, then he would have at least contacted his mother to assure her that he was okay. But the fact is that he never contacted his mother or his sister after all of these years. If you're watching this video and you have any information at all, please be a snitch. call 911 or call the Mesa Police Department, whose number is 480-644-2211. It's been about 21 years since Paul has gone missing, and his sister Jessica is still set on figuring out what happened the day that he disappeared. My prayer is that God comforts her, since she's going on another year without her brother and now without her mother. Not only that, but I also pray that God provides her and Paul's loved ones with the answers that they've been searching for all of these years. I can imagine that it's been frustrating for Jessica to not have any idea where her brother, who adored her so much, had gone. The God that I serve, the God of the Bible, is an all-seeing God. He knows exactly what happened to Paul that day and knows exactly where he is. I thank you all for taking the time in today to watch this video. If you did like the video, please feel free to hit the like button. If you have any thoughts on this case at all, please leave your thoughts in the comment section below. If you'd like to see more videos from me, please feel free to subscribe and click the bell to be notified about the next video. If there is a certain true crime case that you'd like me to cover, go ahead and let me know. I will see y'all for next True Crime Tuesdays, and I will talk to y'all later.